Next on the agenda is our information item, the leadership development update. Dr. Dupree.
Thank you, Mr. President. As the board knows, our core beliefs of the district include a heavy focus on leadership and leadership development. And several years ago, we presented to the board a plan to roll out a significant leadership development opportunity in the district. Tonight, we're providing an update on that. I'm going to turn it over to Gwen Touche, our Chief Human Resources Officer, to begin the presentation. Gwen?
All right, thank you, Dr. Dupree. Good evening, Mr. Burdine, Dr. Dupree, and members of the board. Leadership development is part of our district's core business, and we believe student success is best achieved when we have empowered and effective leaders leading our organization. Therefore, we are committed to developing leaders at all levels. During this presentation, you will hear how leadership development has evolved over the past years with the inception of the Departments of Leadership Experience, Teacher Development, and Student Leadership. As an organization, you'll hear how we've shifted from what an effective leader looks like to how we develop a leader, meaning how we grow leaders in our organization and how we provide them ways to own their own learning. You will also hear how we've moved from horizontal development that is mainly focused on job competencies to vertical development, in which we're giving leaders development opportunities throughout their entire journey with Fort Bend ISD. And lastly, you will learn how we've shifted from the old paradigm in which leadership was focused or resided in one person or one role to a new paradigm in which we have a collective process that is spread throughout networks of people, thus building leadership capacity within our organization. So at this time, I'd like to have members of the Leadership Experience Department, Teacher Development Department, and Student Leadership Department teams stand to be recognized for their work and where we are today. Thank you. Please help me welcome our Leadership Development Presentation Team, Dr. Damian, Assistant Director of Leadership Experience, Ms. Hubbard, Director of Teacher Development, Mr. McCoy, Assistant Director of SEL and Enrichment Opportunities, along with our special student leadership presenters, Sarah Faulkner from Travis High School and Arslan Farouk from Bush High School.
Thank you, Ms. Touche. You'll see a picture of our leadership framework on the screen in front of you. This was developed in 2016. It was approved shortly thereafter during this same period. And over the past few years, this framework has been guiding our work. I would like to showcase our accomplishments and also our future goals today in this presentation. There are four main quadrants that are closely tied to our nucleus, which is the core beliefs and commitments. However, our framework is also linked to the outer bands, which consist of many strategic processes. The intent of our strategic plan is for our strategic plan to drive work into the framework, resulting in results for Fort Bend ISD. This slide is an overview timeline of the many successful programs that we've launched in leadership experience. Each column showcases yearly progress, and you can see with our inception in 2016-17, we began developing all the way to our future priorities, which is in the current year. So our infancy really begins in 2016-17. This is when we develop infrastructure. And during this time period, we take over many important leadership training opportunities. It's also the year that we develop close partnerships with the University of Houston to develop external pipelines for our leaders. During 2017-18, this is when the real work begins. This is our pilot implementation year. And many of these pilot programs you see are still around today. However, the items that are in blue have been expanded to include a broader reach and include more people. We begin a transition in 2018-19, and we start to differentiate our learning during this time period. All of our learning outcomes focus on the individual leader at this point, and personal data is now shared with our leaders to create a more personal and meaningful experience. When we go into 2019 and 2020, our future priorities This is really exemplified by our employee. It moves from an employee leadership training model to now a model in which leaders can own and drive their own careers. So we're starting to capture more people within the system. The goal during this time is to provide opportunities for goal setting as well as mentorship, and we also provide stretch assignments for our leaders during this phase. As we move through this life cycle of a leader visual, you can see during this time period that if we were to walk through a leader's journey from the moment they interact with the district, this is what they would experience. Of course, the attraction occurs with the great reputation not only of our board and superintendent, but we also have many award-winning teachers that have presented at conferences, as well as non-district people that have presented at associations, whether at state or regional levels as well. The attract and select, if we move into the select portion, once invited to the interview, participants participate in the DIP process, which is a group interview. During this group interview process, we have participants participate in problem solving as well as collaboration and critical thinking, all with the goal of ensuring job fit and organizational fit for Fort Bend ISD. If we move around our framework, you'll see that we begin to grow talent. And our growing talent, really this consists of a lot of onboarding plans that we have for our leaders, as well as job shadowing, coaching, and mentoring is also something that's provided, as well as monthly trainings. In yellow, you'll see our succession planning, and this focuses on Fort Bend ISD identifying leaders within the district. Our goal is to promote talent at all times. During this phase, our leaders recognize talent, but not only recognize talent, but they collaborate across the district on talent to ensure that we have a well-defined system. And then lastly, we identify high potential candidates, and we develop programs to help grow and develop these people as well. Offboarding may occur on the blue arrow that you see. However, that's not our first choice, but if that does happen, we do have a systematic way of capturing exit data from our leaders that do exit during this time. Our real goal is to keep them through the promotion phase. However, if promotion is not available, they can continue through the cycle and be up for promotion at a later time as well. As we move to our future priorities, you'll see that the heart of our future priorities lies in organizational health. This is a 3-year approach to enhance campus and departmental culture, all based on employee input and employee feedback. During this time, there are 10 components of organizational health, all aimed to improve student performance by improving the culture within the campus or at the department level. Performance management in the top left is the purple area. This is an area that ensures the alignment of individual efforts to our organizational goals. The process here is to focus on feedback and coaching of the individual to improve and maximize achievement at that level, resulting in organizational performance in the end. Our career path plans is in blue in the top right. Very structured process in which employees reflect and self-evaluate on their personal status and then develop action steps in order to achieve the goals that they are seeking for themselves. We encourage leaders to own and drive their own career and also create plans for themselves at this time. In the bottom right in red, you'll see empowering future leaders. And this is really a paradigm shift. It's a process in which employees are empowered to seek career development opportunities for themselves through strategically planned cohorts that we have. Employees, they develop their leadership capacity through peer and supervisor mentorship. They also participate in job shadowing opportunities, and at the very end, they complete a capstone project that is something of their own choosing, all with the goal of showcasing the talents that they have in developing their leadership skills. Principal pipeline is in green in the bottom left, and this is a partnership with the Wallace Foundation, Foundation that we recently undertook. This initiative adds value by reducing principal turnover and also supporting and developing our campus leaders. Individually, as you look at these initiatives focus on specific leadership growth and development opportunities. However, when you look at them collectively, I want you to see that it ensures that leadership development remains vital within Fort Bend ISD. It focuses not only on strategic processes, but it also makes sure that our processes are aligned. And lastly, that they're impactful for all stakeholders. Now we're going to hear from Melissa Hubbard in teacher development.
Thank you, Eddie. So Dr. Damien had talked a little bit about the organizational approach to leadership development. And so I'm going to spend just a few moments really focusing in on the teacher leadership opportunities that we provide here in Fort Bend ISD to build capacity in our teachers. So what you'll notice here is kind of the timeline overview of how we have been utilizing the last few years. Fort Bend ISD invested in developing the Department of Teacher Development in 2015 and 16. And so that was the foundational year for the Department of Teacher Development. Following that, we spent a few years really defining those foundational components and building systems and structures for district level professional development. Last year in 2018-19, we embarked in providing differentiated professional learning for teachers in Fort Bend ISD. And that took on the approach of having a progression where teachers self-selected based on their needs, the professional learning that was most appropriate to their specific job role and their needs as a classroom teacher, while still being aligned with the district priorities. This year, we have really focused and targeted on building internal capacity using the progressions of practice. So those documents have been foundation in providing professional learning for all stakeholders from the principal level to the teacher level to our teacher leaders, so that there's a strong alignment between what's happening in professional development with leaders as well as with teachers. So what you'll notice is that for our teacher leader opportunities, we have 3 different kind of categories in which teachers can engage in leadership opportunities. One of which is through a specific job role. So we have several job roles in the district, like a literacy intervention teacher, a math specialist, or an instructional coach, in which their specific job is to build capacity at the campus level, and they receive specialized professional learning related to their job role to build capacity. We also have teacher leader opportunities that are tied specifically to a stipend. And in those situations, the teachers receive compensation in order to help to lead the work at their campus level and take on some leadership opportunities at their campus. Most of our teachers in these positions are still classroom teachers. They are in the classroom with teachers and with students, and then they are engaging and learning to be a leader on their campus as well. And so some of the positions that we offer in that capacity are our professional learning leads, technology integration champions, department chairs, team leaders, and then our champion of gifted students. Lastly, we have cadres, and our cadres are a little bit more unique because the teachers can apply to be part of this learning opportunity, or they can be referenced into a cadre based on a principal recommendation. So the principal sees them as a leader in the campus and wants to promote that. In that particular avenue, these teachers are learning a very specific narrowed focus, such as the balanced literacy cadre, or the guided math cadre, or our curriculum writers. They get very specialized training, and our hope for this group of teachers is that they actually become a lab classroom environment where they are creating an opportunity for other teachers to learn from them. In this respect for cadres, it ties back to what Dr. Damien was saying about choosing your own path and giving teachers an opportunity to decide what they really want to learn about and diving in deep into that leadership opportunity. So regardless of which opportunity a teacher has engaged in with building capacity, we follow this specific cycle of learning. And so all of these teacher leaders engage in a specific learning experience that's tied back to the purpose for why they are a teacher leader. And so that learning experience is targeted to that specific role that they're playing on the campus. After that, they engage in evidence of practice. So we're expecting these teacher leaders to put those that learning into practice to be doing those things in their classroom and bringing back Artifact to show that they are actually implementing the things that they're learning about in order to revise and improve their own practice. The last piece of that is a lab classroom environment. And so in the lab classroom environment, we're encouraging our teacher leaders to open up the doors of their classroom and allow other individuals to come in and learn. They're modeling those practices that they're learning about in the classroom with kids, and then they're saying, come see what's happening in here. What this has done is we know that teachers learn best from other educators and seeing it in practice, and this has encouraged a lot of our teacher leaders to take risk. We ask our students to take risk, and we're wanting to create a learning environment where kids will take risks. And this creates an opportunity for our educators, our teachers, to take risk and show others the great things that are happening in their classroom. So this year we are in the development stages of a teacher leadership framework. And so you'll see on the screen certain components that we are building out to promote teacher leadership in Fort Bend ISD. So we have various components here, such as a teacher leader profile, and we're working to develop professional learning that is very much targeted, as well as systems of collaboration where they're collaborating not only with each other, but with campus leadership as well. Part of that is to think about incentives that might be available to teachers so that we can recruit and retain teachers in Fort Bend ISD who are reflective of their own practice, who are willing to revise and think about their teaching practices, and then are interested in improving the learning environment for all kids. And so we are working to develop this framework, and we are excited to be able to support this work in Fort Bend ISD. The last thing I'd like to do is we do have some teacher leadership people here in the audience who have dedicated a lot of time to impacting the work on their campus and the students on their campus. So we have a representative from each of those 3 different leadership opportunities here. So I would like to ask teachers and teacher leaders if y'all will stand and be recognized. Now I'd like to turn it over to Mr. McCoy and the students.
Good evening. I am Sarah Faulkner, a lead voice ambassador from Travis High School.
My name is Arslan Farouk. I am a member of the Student Leadership 102 program representing George Bush High School. Go Broncos. This evening, we're going to present to you the programs and the efforts of the student leadership team in the Social Emotional Learning and Enrichment Programs Department. Sarah?
The mission for student leadership is to develop leadership potential in all students, no matter who you are or where you're from. Our vision, whereas, is where we, as students, are able to develop skills necessary to proactively make change in our community. We're becoming partners with staff and administration in diving into the community and the culture within our community. The aims of student leadership are accomplished through development opportunities at the campus and district levels. The campus-based opportunities include Student Council, Honor Society, PALS, Teen Leadership, and No Place for Hate. These campus-based opportunities are thanks to our district. They provide direct support to our campus administration and sponsors to accomplish their organization's mission. Our district programs include the Global Initiative, Student Voices Advisory Network, Leadership 101 and 102, and ROPES. The reason why I'm talking about these programs is because they have impacted me throughout my education. Going into middle school, I decided to join PALS. As a PAL, I went to elementary schools and I got to be a friend to an elementary student. That taught me how to put others before myself. I was able to be a friend for the little girl who may not have had a friend to look up to. I was her role model, and I took these experiences into high school as I decided to join National English Honor Society, where every single week I end up going to during lunch to the Writing Center, where I help others develop their literacy skills. I'm here to tell you that student leadership has not only impacted me, but has impacted my peers and the rest of the students within our district.
So all the district programs that Sarah mentioned are all connected to the attributes of a profile of a graduate. As the student leaders, we're able to sharpen these attributes within all the different sessions that we have throughout the year. Using resources such as the Strength Finders exam, team-ups with the nonprofits, project planning, and the Habitudes character lessons, we're able to really sharpen what it means to have these attributes of a profile of a graduate. And we equip ourselves with these skills that we carry on throughout the rest of our lives. With all the different opportunities that the district has given us, we've been able to help serve others in the community. And the best way we've been able to do that is by planning events that have required the collaboration and the communication not only within us as student leaders, but also with the higher ups in the district. And we have actually come up with very creative ways to expose the leadership characteristics to others in the community as compassionate citizens. And as we pass on all this information to other people in the district and in the community, we learn new skills ourselves, and we're able to take it with us as we go along. Now, specifically for Leadership 101 and 102, it is a 2-year program that helps develop the future leaders that will go into the workforce and the community and contribute to society. The leadership team works with us on small different exercises that help develop all these different skills and ideas. In the 7 different sessions in Leadership 101, they delve into the attributes of a profile of a graduate. Each session focuses on one attribute, and they delve into the deep understanding of what it is and how it is applied. To find out how it applies to the community, they visit different fields of work within the community to see how different workforces use these different attributes. In Leadership 102, which I am representing today, we get to apply all these skills that we learn by teaming up with nonprofits and applying their ideas and their applying all the different ideas and all the plans that they have, working with them as student leaders. And as we go along throughout the year, we develop new skills that we take on after high school and try to use it within either college or the workforce. Both groups that we have in Leadership 101 as well as 102 actually advocate to the government at the state and national level in trying to improve the education system that we have today. And to pass down all the leadership skills that we have with us, we decided to go to the younger generation in the elementary schools. I'm sure you board members may know last year, we kicked off our elementary school conference, which was a huge success based on the feedback that we got. And all the experiences that I have learned, myself and all my cohorts have learned, we've seen that leadership is very deep and it's very expansive. There's so much more to it that we may have not seen before in the past, and we get to learn all these skills and take it with us forever.
As I mentioned before, I am a Lead Voices Ambassador, or a second-year ambassador for the Student Voices and Advisory Network. So what exactly does that mean? This year, I am the one who is hosting and facilitating the first-year cohort. What we do is we empower the students with the skills necessary to sharpen their advocacy and facilitation skills. So how are we implementing that within our community? Well, we host town halls in which we get the voices from all 11 high schools. Anyone is free to come to our town hall and provide their voice. Their right to bear voice is shown through our town halls. But we take it a step further, and we have decided to take that information that we get from the town halls, from our peers, from our teachers, from our students at our schools, and create central themes which we go on to create proposals for. You may already know at some of the high schools there is Mega Lunch. Mega Lunch was a proposal made by one of our groups from Student Voices. Every high school that was able to accommodate Mega Lunch implemented it at their high school. So seeing this impact directly from Student Voices, we take it even a step further than that by hosting our annual diversity conference, where we bring over 500 students from all 11 high schools to come together to celebrate diversity and inclusion. And
Exhibit H to show you what we're doing on the horizon for our future priorities for career development. And all of our employees can take advantage of this opportunities, what we call grow your own career, so empowering them to own their own career in the future. But if you look at the Exhibit H, and we're piloting this year with our empowering our future leaders. But what it allows them to do is to go through this cycle of first assessing for themselves, where are they? What feedback have they gotten from their leaders? Are they ready for a career change? And then the next phase would take them through goal setting, so clearly defining what it is that they want to do when making a career change. And that brings them around to exploring opportunities to get themselves in front of people to show their work and what their capabilities are in our organization. And as we move around to the development part of the cycle, we've developed a template. It's called a career path plan that walks them through actions that they define for themselves to get them where they have set their goals to be. And then moving along to socializing. We know that networking is a very important part of you moving into the roles that you're seeking, and then providing them with opportunities to showcase their work at the end. So we're piloting this year with our assistant principals, or teachers who have applied for assistant principal roles who didn't necessarily get picked up this year, so that they can give us feedback around this process. And then we're going to be ready to launch this in the summer and make it available at the fingertips of all of our employees in the district. You're welcome.
Wonderful presentation. I'd like to also echo my fellow board members' remarks this evening. Our entire board is very proud of all the leadership initiatives that were spoke about and reported on tonight. So thank you all. We appreciate you. This will take us to the next level, as it already is. So we appreciate you. Moving on, we will now convene in closed session under the Texas Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551, and those sections listed in the agenda, and for the purpose of private consultation with the board's attorney on any or all subject matters authorized by law. We are now convened in closed session.